Good morning, everyone on Facebook land. I'm just and on the Zoom webinar. I hope you're having a great morning. There's a couple of people jumping on. It is 10 a.m., so I will start. Thank you again for being here. I'm just going to share my screen now and get the PowerPoint presentation. So if you are watching on Facebook and you would like the PowerPoint presentation, for anyone who is on the webinar as well, just give me a second. I want to grab, don't you love it when social media stuff doesn't work? I just want to grab the chat box so that if anyone has, oh, we've stopped sharing. Sorry guys, just wanting to get that chat box going as well. Morning, Kylie. So here we are, and I'm going to start the slideshow as well. So if there's anyone who is on in the webinar at the moment and you want to ask any questions as we go along, please do. Also, there are a few people on live in my Facebook where I do stream it each week. But if you would like to get a recording of this on Facebook or you would like to see the PowerPoint, please do register. The link is in the comments and come over and say hello. So here we go. When I started my online business, probably about, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to, take seriously my online business and jump on and begin to get clients on Facebook. There was a lot of mistakes that I was making. I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting people signing up to events, couldn't understand why I wasn't getting people showing up to lives, couldn't understand, what I was doing wrong. And eventually I decided to get together with a social media mentor who made me realize that there was 5 integral mistakes that I was making online. Again, guys, if the people that are watching on the Facebook, you can jump onto the webinar if you like, or just comment on here and I can answer some of your questions as well. But if you jump onto the live webinar, you will get to see the PowerPoint. So these are the 5 integral mistakes that I made that once I changed, things changed dramatically for me. And I noticed that if I ever drop one of these things back a little bit, it's almost like another part of the puzzle. And if I take one part away for a little while, it creates imbalance in what I do in my business in social media. So here we go. Mistake number 1, not following up. I've mentioned this before in a couple of other live webinars that we've done, but not following up was a massive problem for me. I used to think that if I would follow up on people, that I was being pushy now, that I was being a pest, that I was constantly, annoying people. And it wasn't until one day that I actually sent someone a reminder and they said to me, thank you so much for reminding me. If you hadn't have sent me that reminder, I would have forgotten and wouldn't have attended your workshop. So I realized that in not following up, it was actually my mindset. It was me thinking I was going to be a problem to people. It was me thinking I was annoying people. At the end of the day, I came to realize that if someone does not appreciate you following them up, they're not your client. Okay, so where do you need to follow up on social media? On comments. If people comment on your posts, you might want to follow up and create a connection. This is not about following up to to make a sale. It's about just following up, just to say hello to people and acknowledging the fact that they actually commented on your posts. So follow up on comments, and you don't know where that's going to lead. This one is a very important one that I would never do. Follow up on events when people click going or interested. It is so important that you follow up with people who click going or interested. There's a reason why they've done that. It doesn't mean that they're all going to come to your events, but they've been interested at some point and they're interested in coming along, or they're thinking about it, and you just want to follow up with either a private message or a big post comment saying, don't forget this is coming up. Okay, reminder in group messages. Now, this is another thing I never used to do. In my groups, I used to hate reminding people that I had things coming up, or asking people in the groups that of events or anything like that. A reminder in the event messages, and post reminders on your wall. I mean, I just popped a reminder on my wall saying, see you in 10 minutes. People forget, we get busy. I can tell you guys that I had a couple of appointments that I had with other people, not my clients, but I was having chats with other people for some services that I'm looking for, and I forgot the appointments because they did not remind me. I didn't do it on purpose, but the fact that I didn't get a reminder saying we're jumping on Zoom in an hour, or sending me something to remind me that this event was on, I completely forgot. So you need to follow up. Again, if you have that mindset like I did, where I was, really, really worried, I thought I was annoying people, it was my mindset, it wasn't other people's. So you need to have a look at what's going on in your mindset there. So the first, and probably one of the most important, is follow up with people. People are busy. It's not about you, it's about them. And if anyone then gets upset with you, well, they're not your client anyway, so you know what, it doesn't really matter. The next one is be consistent. This was another massive one for me, and I'd like to hear from the people who are watching whether you've had any of these issues as well, and how you've addressed them, or how you're possibly going to address them now. I've just realized I forgot to turn my light on this morning. So what I used to do is I used to post on Facebook, post on Instagram, post on LinkedIn. I'm still not great with posting on LinkedIn. I find I don't have time, but I was never consistent. I would post for a whole week consistently, bang, 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 post live videos, all these sorts of things, and then disappear. Now, people need to see that you're there. Tonight in my mastermind webinar, I'm going to run through something that they're going to absolutely love about client attraction psychology. And one of the things that I didn't realize was that I wasn't posting consistently. So as I was, starting to build trust and build momentum with the people that were watching my lives and reading my posts, all of a sudden I would disappear. So they wouldn't know where I was or what I was doing. So it's really important that you must be consistent. And this Monday morning musing webinar is how I stay consistent. At this stage, throughout the whole year, I'll be missing at this stage one Monday morning, because I'll be teaching a class, a live class in NLP. So I can't make it, but I let everybody know. It's important to be consistent. It's important to show up, because people who are looking at you as a potential person to work with need to see that you're consistent. They need to see that you're there for them. They need to see that you're around, because if you disappear, they don't know what's happened, and they might think, this person's not working anymore, or they're taking a break and I need someone now. So post on your social media every day. It doesn't have to be mega things. And in fact, next week I'm doing the live webinar next week is going to be how to reverse engineer a funnel, and we will go through what things you can post. So post every day. It doesn't matter if it's just a quote, but post every single day. And you should be making now live videos 2 to 3 times a week. People prefer to listen to video rather than read long posts. I know I'm like that. I'm often listening to someone's live or replay of a video while I'm doing something else. So if you don't have a live video, you know, if you're not posting live video, you're only posting content that has to be read, what happens is that some people will not have the time to read it. And I know that sounds crazy, but I actually did a survey on both my page and my Facebook profile some time ago, and I asked people how much of a post do they read, and most people will only read something that is quite short, and that's less than 10 lines. So anything that you're wanting to say, you need to jump on and do a live video, because people are more likely to listen to it, and you need to be consistent. Don't be on one week and then not show up for another week, and then, you know, be on again for another week. It doesn't work. And this is one of the mistakes that I made. I was not being consistent. So now I actually have created some systems. I've outsourced some work so that I am consistent. One of the third biggest mistakes I made was not building trust with people. And there's a couple of reasons how I didn't build trust. One of them was, I used to think to myself, if I jump on social media and I start talking a lot about what I do, I'm going to sound like I'm preaching. I'm going to sound like I know everything. And you know what? That's not the case. What was happening, and again, this was all my mindset, guys. So if your mindset's not working in this area, it's really important that you possibly work with someone to have some limiting beliefs and things like that removed, so that you can start being the person that you need to be. But people need to know, you need to become an authority in your field. People need to know what you do. If you don't build trust by showing them with added value what you're talking about, exactly like this webinar at the moment, I'm showing you my top 5 mistakes, and I know that this is one of them. So I know the mistakes that people make on social media. If I don't show you that I am an authority in this, why would you trust me? You also need to build trust, not just in your business, but who you are as well. And we're going to talk about that on the next slide. But people need to know that you're real. People work with people that they actually, you know, resonate with. So you need to show people you're real, and you're not perfect. I know myself that when I'm looking for a coach to work with, or I'm looking for someone to work with, and yes, I say this all the time, every coach needs a coach, every mentor needs a mentor, because everybody has limiting beliefs and everybody hits the edge of their comfort zone at some stage and needs to be someone on the outside to push you through, because you're in your box and the instructions are on the outside. So people need to see that you're real. So you want to be putting on your Facebook as well things that are okay for you to share. I mean, I'm not saying put up personal stuff. Like, my daughter does not like me sharing photos of my granddaughter, so I don't put that on Facebook. If I ever share that on a Thursday, any photos of her, it's always the back of her head. But you need to be real. People need to see that you're real. So you need to build trust. People need to get to know you. And on your Facebook profile, if you're wanting to use social media on any profile, in fact, for business, it must be a public profile, because people need to know who you are. They need to know your authority. You need to build trust with them. You need to show people that you're real. And what you don't want to do is talk about business all the time. People want to see who you are, and that builds trust, especially if you are working on a niche where you are to where you want to be. People need to see you got there. And my current program, which is helping holistic healers and therapists and coaches increase their businesses, help more people, came from me being asked by people who were watching me over time and seeing me build my business, and they asked me, how did you do it? And that was because, without even realizing, I was showing that I became an authority in this field, and they built trust with me because they saw I was a real person. And the other important thing is, don't just talk about business. You have a business page for that. You would want to show people who you are so that they can trust you. It's a way of building rapport. And only 20% of what you do on your Facebook profile should be business. Yes, you need to share some business, but only 20%. The rest of the time, it should be about you adding value. At the moment, while I'm doing this webinar, I'm also going live on my Facebook page, not my profile, because my profile is about building trust, and people buy from you and who you are. Hope that makes sense, guys. Any comments, please, please, please let me know. The third mistake I made, and I've already touched on this, is not sharing about me. I was the sort of person that, because again of my insecurities, would never share about anything about myself. My Facebook profile was private. I wouldn't let people see into my life, and I can't let people know this, and I can't. And I'm not talking about things that would go wrong. I'm talking about even things that would go right, because I felt like I was boasting. This is one of the very first pictures that I actually shared many years ago. For those, sorry if you're not on the PowerPoint, you can come and register. But this picture that's on this PowerPoint slide is one of the very first pictures that I shared on my public Facebook profile when I went public. And this is me on a houseboat in southern India. And whenever I do now, I share pretty much everything that I do. I said, unless of course there is someone who, is part of whatever I'm going to share and doesn't want me to, then I'll work out how to not do that. But there is nothing that I don't share about myself. I tell people all the time about what happened 8 years ago and how we were on the verge of bankruptcy. I tell people that all the time. Why would people want to work with me or trust me if they don't see that I'm real? So this was a really big obstacle and a big hurdle for me, and it tends to be one of the biggest obstacles that I find with both my students and clients that come to me, that they don't want to share about who they are. But again, people buy people. So they want a connection with you. They want to know who you are. They want to trust you. And then what happens after that is that they will then start looking into your business programs. But because they see who you are, they see that you're real. And I just had one of my VIP clients not long ago who is surrounded by some, really great coaches that I know as well. And I asked her, why did you pick me? And she turned around and said, because you're real. So you need to show people that you're real and be a little bit vulnerable. And this was a really hard one for me to do for a long time. I had to get over some of my limiting beliefs and blocks. But now this is me, guys, like it or not. I can't change who I am. And if people don't like who I am, that's okay. They're not my clients. But you need to show people who you are. This was a really important one too, not nurturing my group. Now, I created Facebook groups. I'd seen a bit of live training and thought, oh, what's a Facebook group? Oh, yeah, let's put people in a Facebook group. And I didn't understand what a Facebook group was really for or how to work it. So now I nurture my Facebook groups. I do have groups for different reasons, but my two constant groups, which is Fabulous Women's Empowerment and Leading with Intention group on Facebook, I nurture them every day. We have hashtags. I post sometimes 3 times a day in these groups, at least 1, sometimes 3. And currently I'm running a challenge in tandem for those 2 groups, which is really, really great. I'm actually running a 7-day Living with Intention challenge, and I'm doing it in both the groups at the same time. I go live in 2 places like I'm doing right now, and I often jump in there when I get a chance and do lives, but I also nurture the group. I speak to everyone in there. We have prizes for whoever is the highest person, the person who comments the most and shares, and I nurture that group too. I allow them to share their promotions. I allow these people in these groups to be able to explore what we're doing in the groups, and they are my group, so I nurture them. And that was something that I wasn't doing because I wasn't consistently showing up in the groups either. So you can see that these 5 top mistakes actually all interweave with one another, because I wasn't nurturing my group, I wasn't being consistent, I wasn't being vulnerable, I wasn't sharing about myself, but now I do. And especially in the Fabulous Women's Empowerment Group, we really connect in that group, and it is a place for women to really come together. And of course, with the Leading with Intention has men in there as well. And that's a great place for everyone to come together and share what you do. And I jump in there and nurture the group, hopefully giving as much value as I possibly can to them so that they can also move forward. And you know what? Being a coach, being a therapist is not always about making the sale. It is, and I did vow and declare that my biggest passion years ago was to help as many people as possible to realize that, you know, you can go through some really bad adversity and things can get really, really bad in life, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And those 7 steps to leading with intention are the steps that took me down that light. So if that's something, if you're listening to this, if you're on here live now and it is, you're not in the group and you really would like to join the group, let me know, reach out and I'll send you the links to jump into those groups so that you can have a look at more about not only what I do, but also to help you gain as much value as you can. Was that 5? That must have been 5, guys. Yeah, for some reason I went through them really quickly. So that's my 5 top mistakes that I made, and I'm just going to go through them again so that you know. So they were not following up people, because again, this was all about my own mindset, guys, not being consistent, not building trust with people, not sharing a little bit about myself, and not nurturing my groups. If anyone has any questions, please, please, please do ask. Again, thank you for being here. We have finished a couple of minutes early, but that's okay. If anyone wants to reach out, my contact, my phone number and my email, or you can find me on Facebook under Sandra Madaffrey, of course, either on my public profile or my Sandra Madaffrey training and mentoring. So thank you again for being here. I hope this added value for you, and they were my top 5 mistakes. Next week, if you want to come along, we are doing how to reverse engineer your funnels. I'm going to show you how to create a funnel and how to easily create posts, videos, whatever it is, to get people down into that funnel. So thank you again, everyone, for watching. Sanika, thank you for being here. Just a reminder too for everyone that is here, not this next Tuesday, which is I think the 7th of July, I am starting a 8-week program on Leading with Intention, which is a really transformational, in-depth look on how to create a more intentional life, whether it's your business that you're looking at or anything else in life, how to create a more intentional life and get the results that you're looking for. So if that's something that interests you as well, please, please, please reach out. If not, I will see you again next Monday. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you for everyone on the Facebook, and I will see everyone again next week. Bye for now.